Hi, this is your coach, Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hope you're having a great summer. Labor Day is right around the corner, right? And we are in the dog days of August, it's a very unique year this year, obviously. And I was thinking about what I want to bring to the table today inside of our conversation, and what I decided I want to do is tell you a little bit about my story, because I am not this overnight success. I've been at this game now 26 and a half years, and I want to address because I think a lot of advisors get into this game, and you kind of get in, and I think it's like any other business, right? For the first couple of years, you're just trying to survive, and I definitely was in that mode probably the first 3 to 5 years of my career. You try different things. You'll take on clients that you shouldn't take on, right? You'll anything to get an experience and get some cash. Bottom line, right? So you and I have that kinship of the struggle of the first part of our careers. And then you get to that point, and there's no magical. Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? But you get to that point where okay, you kind of start figuring it out. Okay, you go from can I do this to okay, now I can do this, right? And you kind of you find your way, if you will. And so for the next probably let's say 20 years, I was finding my way, right? Now I am not nothing comes easily to me, and maybe some of you can identify with that. Every level of success that I've had to scratch and claw. It's bathed in failure and emotional blood, and that is the battlefield, right? And I know a lot of you can identify with that. A lot of you have been in this game for decades, like me, and sometimes you're searching for that solution, that next step, that pivot point, right? That something that's going to ignite you to that proverbial next level that we always hear about. So for about 20 years, I made a very, 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 very good living. Better than all doctors and stuff like that. And I fell into a comfort zone. I got into good enough land. Bills are being paid, money's going to happen. We live a good lifestyle, stuff like that. And what happens? That's a very sinister game because what happens is you wake up in the morning and the goal is to maintain, not grow, not elevate, not get better. And it's okay, right? You'll make some money, I'll make some money, but it gets boring. And then then your brain starts wandering around. Is there other things I want to be doing? Do I need to find a second business or should I be investing in this, investing in that? And I went through all that conversation in my career. And what's interesting about that is I look back at those times and, I still had a lot of value. I mean, my clients have been with me, many of them are with me 20 plus years. My average, I think, is like 13, 14 years. So, the feedback I get is I do a pretty good job. But if you're not striving for things, if you're not kind of moving the needle, it gets boring, you know. And there's two mindsets in our game. Either we're in the growth mindset or we're in the hopefully it's good enough mindset, right? There's kind of that's growth mode or there's no mode. That's it. And what I realized was, and this is now, so take now let's fast forward. So figure 20 years doing a good job, hey, doing business planning events, speaking, serving my clients, doing all the things, right? Being a part of the family, all those things. And then 25th anniversary comes, right? Which was a year and a half ago, right? So February. And I kind of hit this kind of threshold where okay, 25 years, and maybe some of you have that. You've been at your game now 10, 15, 25, 30 years, and you're like, okay, what else? Now what else is there? 25 is a very, like wedding anniversaries and certain birthdays, right, are very moments of reflection. I really reflected on my 25th. And I remember, it took me all the way back to how I started, which was at the time I was working for the Tony Robbins organization. I live in New Jersey. Um, they needed somebody to handle Manhattan, right? Okay, I'll go. I'm young and dumb. I don't know any different. I'm in that tribe, right? So hey, I'll do whatever it takes, right? So I go from Somerville. So if you're from New Jersey, you'll know this. Somerville into Newark, onto the path on into World Trade. And that was my routine for many, 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 many months. And basically, I operated like a wholesaler. This is when you can actually walk in the branches. You actually go up the elevators in the buildings, right? And go to the receptionist and ask for the branch manager, sales manager, whoever, and they would actually you could have a conversation with them, right? That's how I started. Basically selling and supporting Tony Robbins corporate training programs, which a lot of people don't know. But Robbins has a huge corporate training thing, which you will never see on an infomercial, right? So, whole different animal. So that was the side we played off, and we did that. And then my wife and I sat down after about almost 2 years in that game. Said, okay, what else is there? Because at the time, so let me explain my game. So when I was doing that, it was 100% commission, right? You paid your own expenses, you killed what you ate, and if you didn't kill, you didn't eat. Very simple. And at the time, there was no coaching. There was no monthly coaching call or weekly coaching call or meeting or anything like that. Our game was sell corporate training, do the corporate training, sell books and videos and tapes, corporate training. You didn't buy from me, I didn't eat. Very simple, right? And so what would happen was that I would go to, I'd probably be in every branch at least once a month. And I probably had 30, 35, 40 of them scattered throughout lower Manhattan, even some of the insurance places at the time. And, I show up there and then, the receptionist would know me. This again before all security stuff, right? We're talking like, the early, kind of early mid 90s. And, I'd just do it. And then what would happen would be, advisors would sit me down, right? Because they didn't want to be on the phone. They wanted a little break. And just have conversations about, hey, their goals, what do you think, stuff like that. And so I would spend half hour, 45 minutes with somebody, and we had a great conversation, added value. But guess what? I didn't make a dime. Like there were days where I could spend literally from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in New York and actually lose money because I have to pay my own expenses to get in, have a bite to eat, right? Stuff like that. And that's what I did. And so lo and behold, after a couple years of that, my wife's pregnant with our first child, 8 months pregnant, as a matter of fact. This was January. He was born in March. This is like mid January. Um, and we have a conversation, and she could tell something's wrong. And I said, yeah. I said, here's my problem. There's I think opportunities to build relationships with these people, with these stockbrokers at the time, and the organization's not set to do it. There's no coaching, no training, and when I ran that up the flagpole, believe it or not, I was told no, we don't do that. We sell, right? So it's interesting. Um, so after a long sleepless weekend, and by the way, for those of you who have ever done a Colby, I'm a 9++ on a quick start, so that should give you a little idea kind of how my brain works. So I got up on Monday, and I did another. And what I started to do is I went in there, started to kind of feel people out a little bit. Hey, if this was available, if there's some way to do some consulting, it wasn't called coaching back then, consulting. Would that be something you'd be open to? And I got a couple like kind of very soft yeses, if you will. And I resigned that Friday. And I remember I had to go get business cards, and this is before like Office Max and all this other stuff was around, and definitely before like you can go put them in a printer. And I remember I went to Minuteman Press in Somerville, New Jersey, and I got these really, really, really ugly. They were gray with black ink. I mean, I was going to do the white and black, but then I looked like a lawyer, an attorney's card, right? So I did gray with black instead. And I remember what it said: Joe Lucas, Peak Performance Consultant, with a beeper number. That's how old I am. Beepers. I walked around with a beeper and a what they call phone card, right? So you go to public phones and you call people back, and that's what I had. And so I went into. I remember on Monday morning, got up, got on train, got into Newark, got on the path, got to World Trade, went in there. Nobody questioned what I was doing because I've been there so many times, and I pitched. And my pitch was very simple. I've left Robbins. I'm doing my own thing. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you an hour of my time, and you're going to give me your top two, three, or four challenges. We're going to spend an hour on them. At the end of the day, I'm going to give you a blank invoice. Blank, like here's an invoice. No, 1 hour consulting, no number, and you'll fill out the number you think was worth to you, and cash or check only, right? And that's what I did, and that's how I started my career. It wasn't well thought out. It wasn't like I had this tremendous business plan. I did not. So this is just a passion of mine I wanted to do. And I think that's really the key thing. I really look back at what made it work for me. And then I went back to another part where I remember when I was 17, 18 years old, I was very lucky. We're gonna get a little deep here for a second. So I definitely did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. In fact, it's probably the exact opposite. So whatever the opposite of a silver spoon is, that's me, right? Lower middle class, blue collar family, restaurant bar business. Our family has been, our family was known for, working hard 7 days a week. Three bar was open 365 days a year. I would spend Christmas Eve there as a child. My father would work, the whole family would work, right? I would open up presents Christmas Day, then open up the bar at like noon, right? And this is I just didn't know anything different than that. So that's what I did. And so when it came time to really kind of have this conversation with myself, what I'm going to do, um, I was introduced to a gentleman who actually gave me the book Think and Grow Rich. 17. And I was in high school, and I really didn't know it. I didn't think college was going to be for me, quite frankly. I was a C student because I was bored, just absolutely bored. Loved history, loved science, couldn't stand the rest of it. Just couldn't. Right? Math made no like trigonometry. I'll never use it in my life. Right? I haven't. Bottom line is that it opened up another possibility for me. That relationship, right, if you will, that circumstantial relationship being introduced by somebody. When I look back now, at that time, what's it now? 40, almost 40 years. Yeah, 40 years. Um, it was a pivot point for me. What we all have to remember, this is really the message for today, is the people you meet, your relationships, the people you associate with, your tribe has a direct and powerful influence on the course of your life. I sometimes think about if I had not met that person, if that person had not given me that book, where would I be today? And the only thing I come up with, quite frankly, is I'd be running the family business, doing what my father did, doing what my grandfather before him did, and being miserable about it. That's all we knew, right? That's what I think about. And so, 20 years of doing, so I've been 26 and a half years. So, the first 5 years, figure it out, right? Next 20, kind of, get it going, get into this comfort zone. And when my 25th came, like I was saying, I had to make a decision. It's really interesting. I had to say, okay, so, I'm either going to decide that this is the way it is and I'll do good and I'll take care of my clients and I'm not going to retire, but I'm going to make sure that I'll take care of everybody. I'll work on referrals, but I don't need to do this, right? Don't need to do this. Don't need to build out Magellan Network. Don't need to do all the stuff I do. All the other stuff that I do, um, I won't need to do it. I just kind of go play golf again, right? 2 or 3 times a week. And I thought about that. And I really did for like several days. Like I really was very uncomfortable. I wrestled with that, and I said, I could probably do that for about a year, maybe 6 months. I don't get bored. I get bored easy. So I made a commitment, and for some of you, some of my clients who I know watch the show, if you're in part of Magellan Elite, you remember they're in Chicago last summer, where I basically committed to each and every one of you that I will be your coach for the next 25 years. So basically, I made a promise to my tribe that I will not abandon them for another 25 years. It's now 24. And I made that declaration in public, loudly. And not only did I say I'm going to do that, but I'm going to get better at what I do. So my best coach. So this is my belief, and this I hope you share this. As a coach, my best coaching day, my most powerful day, will be my last day I do this because of all the experiences, all the distinctions. Your best day as a financial advisor, you need to declare to yourself, it's going to be your last day. The last day I serve a client is going to be my most powerful day as an advisor. See, there's this concept that we have that, oh, you're on the backside of the mountain, you're over the hump. And I totally reject that. I think you never stop climbing. I think that where the summit really is in life is what I call heaven, my version. So I will climb that mountain all the way into the clouds my entire life. And then when my journey's over, it'll be over, but not until then. And so for some of you who are younger advisors, who are just kind of getting into your game, figuring it out, let me say this. There'll be a lot of twists and turns. Nothing will go according to plan. I will guarantee you, none of you, as I did not, none of us had a pandemic in our 2020 business plan. No way, right? But yet here we are. So if you're starting out, just be prepared for the lefts and rights, twists and turns. You're ready to get knocked on your ass and have to get up. Keep moving forward. It's a game built in failure, right? And for some of you who are like me, been at this game for decades, make a decision. Make a decision. Now, if you want to just play it out and it's good enough, then be at peace with it. So when you say it's over, don't look back at your career and say, I could have done this, I should have done that. Don't do that. That's my biggest fear for myself. I call it the rocking chair test, where you sit and look back at your world, your life, everything you've done. You said, I could have done more. That drives me. It's funny. I'm driven more by that fear than any other fear, than anything else. Not being motivated, not to go, no. The rocking chair. In fact, I'm thinking about getting one put in my office. Not that I'm going to sit in it, but I'm going to look at it every day, and it's going to be like the ghost of the future, reminding me, get your stuff done. So you have a choice. You're either kind of hang or you're going to elevate. And look, I work with advisors 20, 30 years in the business. They're elevating. They're in their 60s now, early 60s, and they're having their best years. When you would think they would, kind of look, they're playing a different game. So what changed other than that conversation? For me, one of the most powerful things I did, I looked at every relationship I had, every association, right? Can't change your family. But I looked at who I was hanging with. And I said, these people, they're not going anywhere. They're going to serve me. They're nice. They're fun to be with. They're a nice escape. They're not going to bring me anything. And I really I disassociated from. Look, I just disappeared. Stopped hanging out. Stopped playing golf. Stopped doing things. So it didn't mean anything to me. And I found a new tribe. Powerful business owners, powerful business leaders. And that is, in the last 18 months, has totally transformed my game after 25 years. Final thought. It's never too late. In the advisor world, there's no mandatory retirement age. You can rockstar your career in your 60s and 70s. And if you're just starting out, imagine getting your crap together early in your game and having decades of just absolutely flourishing. I call it compressing time. Remember, there's two ways we learn. We learn from doing and failing, and that's a trial and error method, right? That expands time. Or you learn from modeling. Hey, what does work? That compresses time. Choice, right? So, no little long-winded today. Appreciate you hanging out with me. Hopefully, my story has some meaning, some distinctions for every one of you. If any of this made sense, come check me out, MagellanNetwork.net. Love to help you on your journey. So, with that being said, thank you for watching and listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, do something with this message today, and I'll see you on our next episode. So there you have it. If you really enjoyed watching this episode, go ahead and subscribe to the Magellan Network Show with Coach Joe here on YouTube. And remember, I'm always here to help you become a better entrepreneur, business owner, and financial advisor. With that, I'll see you next time on the Magellan Network Show with me, Coach Joe. Take care and goodbye.